Good day, students. Welcome to Mathgotserved.com. In this clip, we're going to be going over section 10.3 on our series on circles. We're going to be looking at how to find the circumference and area of circles in this tutorial. Okay, so the types of problems we're going to be going through are depicted here. We have a situation where you're given a radius and you have to find the area, and also another situation where you're given a circle with its diameter and you have to find the circumference. Don't forget, we have some practice problems at the end of this presentation for you to try out in order to demonstrate mastery of the contents of this tutorial. Alrighty, let's get started. So in question 1 and 2, we are to find the area of the given circles with indicated measures. Alright, in question number 1, we have a circle with the radius, right? The segment from the center of the circle to the circumference is the radius. A circle with a radius of 8 meters, so we have to find the area of that. Alright, so first of all, let's specify what the formula for area is. The formula for the area of a circle is pi times radius square. Okay, to gain access to our collection of the must-know geometry formulas, just visit our website at mathgotserved.com under geometry, and then you're going to see all the formulas and theorems and postulates that you need to know. Okay, all right, so in this particular circle here, this is the radius, right? So the measure of our radius is 8 meters. So let's go ahead and specify that. Our radius r is equal to 8 meters. So that's basically all you need to know to find the area of a circle. If you know what the radius is, then you can find what the area is, all right? So we're going to carry out a substitution. We're going to plug in the value of the radius into the area formula, pi r squared. So we're going to have pi times r is 8, and then we're going to square that. Okay, so basically know what square is. You're multiplying 8 by itself. So when you carry out that multiplication, you're going to have pi times 64, okay, which can be written as 64 pi. Okay, if you want to write it in approximate form, you can just plug it into your calculator, and that's going to be approximately, let's plug that into our calculators. So I'm going to use a basic Windows Scientific calculator here. So just input the values, 64 multiplied by pi, so we have the pi button right there, and then your answer is going to be 201. If we round it to the 10th place, it's going to be 201.1. All right, 201.1. So in this particular problem, the area is, the exact value is 64 pi. Okay, so since you're multiplying two lengths, it's going to be meters squared. Okay, so that's the exact value. The approximate value, using decimals, is 201.1 meters squared. Okay, so that's the answer to question number 1. Okay, let's take a look at question 2. So question 2, we have the diameter in this case, okay, and we're to find what the area is. So the area formula again is pi times radius square. But we're given the diameter, all right? So how do we figure this out? Well, there's a relationship between the radius and the diameter. Okay, so we need the radius, we're given the diameter. The radius, so another formula that we need to know is that the radius is equal to the diameter divided by 2. Okay? All right, so let's go ahead and find the radius in this particular problem. So since the diameter is 14, that follows that the radius is going to be half of that, which is 14 over 2, which is 7. Okay, so that's all you need to know to find the area of a circle, the radius, or the diameter, okay, because you can find the radius from the diameter. All right, so area is going to be pi times the radius, which is 7 square. Okay, so that's going to be pi. 7 squared is 7 times 7, which is 49. And then the answer is, you write a constant first before the symbolic form for your irrational number pi. 49 pi, that's standard convention. Or approximately, let's fire up our calculators. 49, let's click what we had before. 49 times pi is 153.9 to one decimal place. 153.9. Okay, so let's write it out. So our area is 49 pi. Now the unit is feet, right? So it's going to be, since you're multiplying two lengths, that's going to be feet square. Square is the dimension of area. Okay, so that's the exact answer. And then the approximate answer is 153.9 feet square. Okay, so there goes the answer to question number 2. All right, now let's take a look at some circumference problems. Okay, so just to highlight something on the side, difference between area and circumference. Area basically means that what's the unit value of the region bounded by the circle. So that's the area right there. Okay, so that's what the area is what the interior region between the circle, what's it in square unit. That's what it is. So for example, let's say you wanted to paint a circular surface, what you're going to be looking at is the area. Okay, circumference basically represents the distance around. All right, so if you want to figure out what's the distance around a circular track, that will be the circumference. What's the region enclosed by the circular track? That's the area. Okay, so think about circumference as a distance around the circle. Think about fence, right? Circle around the fence. So that's what we're looking for in 3 and 4. We're looking for the distance around. So it's going to be a length. It's going to be a one-dimensional measure, unlike these that are 2D. Okay, so let's take a look at number 3. We want to find the circumference, so let's specify what the formula is. Circumference of a circle, there are two formulas that you need to know. 2 pi r is the one that's dependent on the radius, or you can also use pi times the diameter. Okay, so circumference is equal to 2 pi r or pi d. So whatever you're given will help you determine what to use. In problem 3, we are given the, what are we given here? We're given the diameter, right? The segment from circumference to circumference through the circle, through the center of the circle is the diameter, right? So the diameter is 20 centimeters here. So let's specify that d is 20. So that's sufficient to find the circumference. So your circumference C is going to be pi times, we're going to use the circle formula, okay? 20, which is equal to 20 pi, or it's approximately, let's fire up our calculators again. So in our calculators is giving us a very accurate answer. Your teacher might have you use like 3.17 or 22 over 7, whichever one. I mean 3.14 or 22 over 7. So whatever your teacher specifies, that's what you're going to use to calculate the approximate value of pi. Okay? All right, so we're going to use the calculator value of pi right here. Bam, it's 3.14 with a lot of decimal places. Enter. So we have 62.8 to one decimal place. All right, 62.8. So that basically represents the distance around this circle. All right, so our circumference is 20 pi, just centimeters. It's just the length, okay, which is approximately 62.8 centimeters around the circle. Okay, all right, let's take a look at number 4. We're looking for the circumference of a circle with a radius of 2 inches. So formulas are 2 pi r or pi d. Okay, So this right here is the radius. That's what we're given. Okay, so the radius is 2 inches. That's sufficient to find the circumference. So the circumference is 2 times pi times the radius. All we're just doing is substituting the 2 into the circumference formula. Okay, and we'll multiply this. 2 times 2 is 4, so we have 4 pi. And then let's see what the approximate value is. Fire up our calculators, and we have 4 multiplied by pi, and it's 12.6 to 1 decimal place. All right, 12.6. Okay, so our circumference, the circumference of the circle, distance around the circle, is exactly 4 pi inches, or approximately 12.6 inches long. All right, so that's that. All right, so before we do some practice problems, we're going to give you some slightly more advanced examples to take a look at. We're going to look at the algebra application of circumference and area problems. Okay. All right, so question number 5 it states that if the circumference of a circle is 8 pi, find the radius. Okay, so first of all, let's find the formula that relates to circumference and the radius. Okay, there are 2 formulas, but the one we're going to be using is the one that has the radius and the circumference in it. Circumference is equal to 2 pi r. Okay, so you write down the formula, and then we know that the circumference C is 8 pi units, and the radius is, we don't know, that's what we're looking for. Okay, so let's substitute that into the equation. So we're going to have 8 pi is equal to 2 pi times r. We're going to solve this algebraically for r, the radius. Okay, that's what it says in algebraic application situation. So to get r by itself, we have to undo this 2 pi that's been multiplied by the radius. So divide both sides by 2 pi. Bam, bam. Okay. On the right side, the 2 pi's divide out nicely. On the left side, the pi's divide out. And then 8 divided by 2 is 4. Okay. So your radius is 4 units. So that's basically working backwards. With the area, with the circumference, you can actually find out what the radius is. All right, let's take a look at question number 6. It states if the circumference of a circle is 6 pi, find the area. Okay, so this is a 2-step problem. So in order to find the area, we need the radius, right? And then given the circumference, we can find the radius. So let's write down what our plan of attack is here. So our plan is as follows. Use the circumference C to find r. All right, that's the first step. And then use r to find a. All right. Okay, so let's do it. So we're going to do part 1. Part 1, this is part 1 right here, using C to find R. It's just like number 5, okay? So number 6 is number 5 combined with what we did in number 1. All right, so that's the first part 1, and then the other one is part 2 right here, part 2. All right, so part 1, let's find, what are we looking for? The radius first. Let's find the radius. So given the circumference, we want to find the radius. So what formula relates to circumference and the radius? We know what it is, right? C is equal to 2 pi r. So this will help us find what the radius is. What do we know? We know that the circumference C is 6 pi centimeters and the radius is unknown. So let's substitute that into the equation. We have 6 pi is equal to 2 pi r. So like we did in number 5, we want to solve this resulting algebraic equation for r. So we'll divide both sides by 2 pi. Bam, bam. And then reduce. Okay. On the right side, the 2 pi's divide out. On the left side, pi's divide out. 6 divided by 2 is 3. Okay, so that's your radius. We're done with part 1. That's the intermediate step. Part 2, we now need to find, what are we going to find? The area. So part 2, we're going to find the area A. We already have the ingredient that we need, namely the radius, right? So what's the formula that relates the area and the radius? The formula that relates the area and the radius, area is pi r squared. Okay, so let's substitute. We're looking, area is what we're looking for. The radius, what's the radius? 3. So our area is basically pi times 3 squared. Okay, and then 3 times 3 is 9, so you just write it as 9 pi. 9 pi is the, or what's the unit? Centimeters square. That's the exact formulation or representation of the area of the circle. If you want to find approximate value, just put 9 pi into your calculator. All right, let's take a look at one more example, and then we'll give you some practice problems to try out, okay? So question number 7, you have to find the circumference of a circle with an area of 36 pi meters square. Okay, so this is similar to number 6 in some way. It's a 2-part process, okay? So let's go ahead and outline what the plan of attack is here. Okay, so this is our plan. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the area is area to find a radius. Okay, that's part 1. And then use the radius r to find what? To find the circumference. To find big C. There you go. Okay, part 1 and 2. Let's do the first part. Part 1. We want to find the connecting variable, which is r. We want to find r. So we're given the area. We want to find r. We need a formula that relates the area and the radius. We know what that is, and it is pi r squared. Okay. In this situation, the area is what? 36 pi. And the radius is a mystery. We don't know what it is. So let's substitute these two into our formula. So 36 pi is equal to pi r squared. So this is a 2-step algebraic process to isolate r. We need to get rid of pi first and then get rid of squares, like we're doing PEMDAS in reverse, right? Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. We're going to divide both sides by pi first. Divide by pi. And then that yields 36 is equal to r squared. How that happened, we just divided out the pi's, right? And then to get r isolated, we take the square root of both sides. So take the square root, take the square root. While we're rooting, because the inverse of square is square root. Okay? You can do this, so just think about what do you multiply by itself to get 36, and that's the answer. The radius is 6 meters. Bam. All right? So that's the intermediate answer. We're not done yet. There are 2 parts to this process. Part 2 we're gonna find the circumference using the radius. Okay, so what formula connects the circumference and the radius? Is 2 pi r, correct? Bam, we know what the radius is. That's sufficient to find the circumference. So the radius is 6. So our circumference C is going to be 2 pi times, substitute the value of r, which is 6 in there. Okay, multiply the constants, 12 pi meters. That's your the exact value of your circumference. If you want the approximate value, just plug it into your calculator. Alrighty, now we're done. It's now your turn to do some practice problems. We have 7 practice problems for you to try out. Go ahead and pause this video presentation. It's time. Try them out. When you're done, click on the playback button, and we're going to reveal what the correct answers are. Alrighty, welcome back. Hopefully you had a chance to try out all the problems. So how well did you do? Let us know in the comments section below. If you did well, go ahead and destroy that like button for us. If you have any questions, just specify it in the comment section below and we'll be more than glad to assist you. Thanks so much for watching the video. Do help support our channel by liking, subscribing, and sharing the contents of this presentation with your friends. Tons of support resources can be found at mathgotserved.com. Do check it out or take a look at the links in the description below. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.